Sewing a Kurta Placket. The Kurta Placket or the tailored placket is used at neck openings in kurtas. Learning to make a Kurta Placket becomes essential when you undertake to make a kurta. Objective: at the end of this class, you will be able to stitch a Kurta Placket. Let us first familiarize with the tools and materials that you would need to stitch a Kurta Placket. You would need cotton fabric, pattern square, tailor's chalk, straight pins, shears, a pair of small scissors, contrasting thread, iron box, hand sewing needle, measuring tape, seam ripper, and a sewing machine. Now let's watch how to stitch a Kurta Placket on a sample fabric piece. Step 1. Measure, mark, and cut out the required sample fabric pieces. Measure and mark 8 inches by 8 inches squares on a single layer of cotton fabric with the help of a pattern square, measuring tape, and tailor's chalk. This will be the outer piece. Use shears and cut the marked square. For the facing pieces, draw a 6 inches by 3.5 inches squares on a double layer of a different color fabric. Use shears to cut these squares. Please note, we are using a different color fabric for the facing piece for demonstration purposes only, otherwise we would use the same fabric as the outer piece. Step 2. Mark and cut along lines on outer square. With the help of a measuring tape, mark a line in the center on the wrong side of the outer square. Draw another line 1/4 inch parallel to it and measure 4 inches down. Cut along the 2 lines. Remove the fabric in between the lines. At the corners, clip 1/4 inch diagonally down on both sides. Step 3. Fix the fabric pieces and stitch one facing. Turn sample piece to the right side. Place one facing on the left side of the sample with the right sides together. Fix it together with straight pins. Using 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitch up to the diagonal clips and fix with reverse stitch. Remove straight pins. Step 4. Turn the edge of the facing and iron. Turn the opposite edge of the left facings 1/4 inches to the wrong side of the fabric and iron it. Step 5. Fold and stitch facing to same length of opening and trim at the bottom. Fold the facing in the middle and place it along the previous seam to the wrong side of the sample. Fix the facing with straight pins. Stitch it down up to the same length of the opening. Remove the straight pins. Trim 1 inch away from the facing at the bottom. Step 6. Fold the other facing. Iron and cut a square off the corner of the facing. Take the other facing, fold the left long edge 1/4 inches over to the wrong side and press it. At the right lower corner, mark and cut a 1 inch by 1 inch square off the facing. Step 7. Fix the fabric pieces and stitch this other facing. Place the right side of the facing on top of the wrong side of the sample piece along the cut edge and hold it in place with straight pins. Stitch the facing down 1/4 inch away from the raw edge up to the same length of the opening on the wrong side of the fabric. Remove the straight pins. Step 8. Fold the facing and form a V shape. Now bring the folded edge to the right side of the fabric, fold the facing in the middle and place it along the previous stitch, covering them slightly. To hold it, fix it with straight pins up to the diagonal clips. Fold the lower edge 1/4 inch under and then corners inside to form a V shape. Hold the shape in place with straight pins. Step 9. Baste the placket. Bring the placket back on the fabric and baste over the placket with the hand sewing needle. Tuck in the extra fabric that is projecting out on the wrong side of the fabric. Now you may remove the straight pins. Step 10. Top stitch around placket and iron. Top stitch around the placket, close the edge. Stitch a horizontal line 1/8 inch above the position of the opening. End with a reverse stitch. Snip the threads with small scissors. Then remove the basting with a seam ripper. press the placket. With that, we come to the end of this class. Let's recall what we have learned. You learned how to stitch a kurta placket. Let's review its basic steps. Step 1. Measure, mark, and cut out the required sample fabric pieces. Step 2. Mark and cut along lines on outer square. Step 3. Fix the fabric pieces and stitch one facing. Step 4. Turn the edge of facing and iron. Step 5. Fold and stitch facing to same length of opening and trim at the bottom. Step 6. Fold the other facing, iron, and cut a square off the corner of the facing. Step 7. Fix the fabric pieces and stitch this other facing. Step 8. Fold the facing and form a V shape. Step 9. Baste the placket. Step 10. Top stitch around placket and iron. You have now learned how to stitch a kurta placket. Take our next class to get introduced to zipper plackets.